Hello friends, and welcome back to my crafty space. My name is Crystal, and in today's video, we are going to be working on my December daily project number 20, or story number 20. So today's spread is all about the movies that we have been watching as a family throughout this holiday season. To help me tell this story, I do have a cut file that I had pre-cut out. This is from I want to say this is from Studio Calico, but it could also be from Citrus Twist. I will definitely put this down in the description box down below, a link to it, because I can't remember where I got it from right at the moment. But it's super cute. It says North Pole Express, and it is one of those Viewfinder wheels that I have just a soft spot for. And what I'm going to do is to add in little tiny images of the movies that we've been watching as a family. So, and then we'll just have it clipped right into the book here at the top. In addition to this little movie wheel, I'm also going to create this interactive element on the bottom side over here to add in my journaling and an additional photo. So this is one of the baseboards from Tim Holtz, and it is about, I want to say it's like 6.75, maybe 6.5 inches wide, and then the 4 inches tall. So what I'm going to try to do is to actually punch portions of the holes into this section so that it will lie flat against the page protector. And then this card that I have here, it says Finding Magic in the Smallest Moments, fits perfectly in the window of this piece right here. So I'm going to have that be on the outside. Then my plan is to create the interactive piece so this can fold out, and behind it will be some journaling and then an additional photo right here. So then that will close up and you won't see it unless you actually open it here. So that is my plan for today. What I'm going to do is go ahead and put you on fast forward while I get everything put together. And then once that is done, we will slow down, read the journaling for the day, and then call that good. So let's go ahead and get started. After taking everything out of the pockets there, I am going to get started on the left side of this spread first, and starting with that flip interactive element there at the bottom. So I'm going to take this baseboard here, add some adhesive to the back of it, which I had some issues with my adhesive today. I ran out on this one on my Kukoyo roller, and then I grabbed some like score tape, and then I used my daughter's roller tape, and then I found a refill for my Kukoyo. So woohoo, but I need to put in an order to get some more. Anyway, so I added some roller adhesive to the back of that chipboard frame there. Then I stuck it down on top of the quote card and just trimmed off a little bit that was poking outside of it. To make it into an interactive element, what I did is I took a piece of copy paper and I trimmed it into a 4-inch by 2-inch piece. I folded it along the long side there, so now I've got each section is 1 inch by 4 inches, and I'm just going to adhere it to the edge where I want this to open up on this baseboard piece here. So the first section is going to go on the back of that. I added adhesive to the top part of the fold and then put it there. So then I can open it up and add adhesive to the inside of that flap so I can add my photo here, which is what I'm going to do right now. And this is where I pulled up my score tape, and then I found a different roller tape, and then I refilled this one after, after some issues. So there we go. We've got it now. So I'm adding that tape in there. And then this picture that I'm putting in is a picture that I took of our elf with a new movie that she brought us to watch tonight, which was the first Home Alone movie. And Izzy had never seen it before. She actually didn't make it through all of it because it just got too late. So she went to bed, and Erin and I finished it together. But who knows, maybe she'll want to watch it again before Christmas comes. We shall see. So I'm just going to trim off the excess of that photo. I believe I printed it at 6 3/4 long by 4 inches wide, just so I could make sure to cover the entire inside of that area. So then I added adhesive to the inside part of that flap there. I'm going to take my journaling and put it face down on top of the photo and then pull the flap down on top of the journaling. That way when it folds, everything folds up the right way. Again, I just need to trim a little bit off of the bottom there. It's a tiny bit wonky, so I will try to correct that by hand. I'm not super great at cutting the straightest of lines without a trimmer, but it's okay. It worked out fine for me. And then to make this work, since it's on the back side of a page protector, what I decided to do was to just adhere the whole thing to the top of the page protector. So I'm going to add a ton of score tape, and I really like score tape because it, to me, has the strongest hold outside of red line tape. So I added a ton of it to the back of this journaling piece, and then I'm just going to stick that down directly onto the plastic here. That way it can flip open and I don't have to worry about cutting a slit or doing anything, even crazier with my pocket there. It's just going to be on top, and that works out fine. Now I do need to punch some holes in that chipboard frame piece so that it will fold flat against the album. So I just took my power punch, which is awesome for punching holes in all kinds of materials. It goes through some really thick stuff, which is awesome. So I punched the holes in there, and then I'm just going to do that good old trick of cutting out the portions that would wrap around the rings so that it's actually not attached. It just has the holes so it can close, if that makes sense. So we're cutting those out. It's almost like the Happy Planner where you can put it on rings, where you can, put the pages on and off of the rings. Same idea. I just made sure to make them super wide because I don't want that chipboard piece to latch on at all. I just want it to lie flat, and it'll work perfectly fine. Now, once I did that and I turned it back over, this is where from yesterday's page, I decided to add a little bit of pattern paper to the bottom of the pattern journaling card there, because you could see the back side of the white, and I just didn't really like that. So I just cut a piece of this pattern paper, which is old. I think it's from like a My Mind's Eye collection from maybe 2018, potentially. And I cut a piece that was 1 inch by 6 inches and used the page protector to help me gauge how far down to adhere it together and put that back in the pocket. I like it much better that way. I think it makes it look finished instead of being able to see the thing, the papers behind it. So the last thing I need to do for this side of the page is to put together my filler card here, which is also going to hold my number. So I have this Santa tag that was from the Hey Santa collection. I think it was the cut apart page, potentially, is where that came from. And then I also have the transparency glittery star there. That was from Allie's main kit this year. And a Tim Holtz number token that says 20. The card that I'm using, it's like this peachy pink color, is from an older kit. I think it was a Paisley Press kit from a couple years back. And so I added the tag on top of it and just made a mark for where I wanted it to go. Then what I'm going to do is grab my ruler so that I can make sure these are on a straight line. I'm going to add 2 dots, one on each side of that main one in the middle. And then I'm going to punch 2 tiny holes. This is with my Crop-A-Dile, and it's the smallest hole setting. What I can do then is thread my twine in from the back, and this is just going to help it to not be too bulky. Like, I didn't want to staple it on here. I didn't want the pieces coming outside of the page protector or anything like that. So I threaded it through the back, put both of those strands through the eyelet hole of the tag there, and then I threaded on the star and the number. I'm just going to tie my twine in a bow, and that is going to be this little card. I think that the cluster is super cute. I like this way for adding a number, and I really liked these colors for this particular spread. I think that the reds and the peaches with the deeper greens just looks super good. So once we get this done, I will trim off some of those some of the tails on the bow there just to shorten them up. And then this will go into the page protector. So we'll just stick it back in. And then this side of our spread is complete. So now we can turn our attention to that viewfinder. It was bothering me a little bit that things weren't quite straight. So I did want to straighten them out and, get them in there the right way. So for the viewfinder, I printed my photos. First of all, I believe that I resized the viewfinder to fit inside of my album. I believe I made it 6 inches wide. I'm pretty sure it's 6 inches. It might be a little bit more than that, but I'm pretty sure it's 6 inches. And so that meant that my photos needed to be roughly an inch, or roughly, I think it was 3/4 of an inch, and then slightly bigger than 3/4 of an inch. So I could just trim those out, add adhesive to the back side of the viewfinder, and then I could stick the viewfinder down onto the photo. That way I can make sure that they are positioned where I want them to go. So I'll just stick it down on there and call that a day. These are the last couple ones here. For these little tiny pictures, I print them from Photoshop. So I go into Photoshop and I will crop my photos down to whatever it is. So, 3/4 of an inch by, let's say, an inch total. And then I always make sure my resolution is set to 300 pixels per inch. That just helps to make everything scale down and still come out very, very clear in the end. Now, I did not add photos to 3 of the holes because that's actually where I'm going to put it into my album. I'm just going to have the rings of my binder go straight into those 3 spots. But I do need to fill in the center of this piece. So I was playing with a couple of different colors, and ultimately I went with this, again, a peachy pink pattern paper. And this time, this one was from the Crate Paper collection this year, Hey Santa. So I will add some adhesive and then put that down onto the circle. I used my 3-inch circle punch to punch that piece out in the middle, which worked out perfectly. That way I didn't have to guess or do anything like that. It all fits in super great. And I pulled one of my felt, a felt star that I had die cut earlier in the season, and I'm going to put that right in the middle and stitch it on. So I'm going to skip over the stitching for this one just because it wasn't that big of a deal. I just stitched it right in the middle. Right there, you can see it. Now I did cut this file again and reversed it. So the cardstock that I'm working with is a patterned or a textured white cardstock. So one side is smooth and one side is textured. So for this one, what I decided was to reverse it so that it does actually look like the back side of the viewfinder. That's why the words are backwards. That is on purpose. For this one, though, I wanted to add that sparkly red paper instead. Just it's going to go a little bit better with the colors that I have going for tomorrow, since you're going to see the backside of this with tomorrow's spread. And then what I want to do on the backside in each of those holes is to stamp it with the date that we watched the movie. So in order to do that, I needed to create a middle piece where it was just plain white cardstock. So I roughly cut out a circle. And then I needed to make sure that I cut out the portion that's going to be inside of the binder. And then it also has a couple extra little holes there that I wanted to cut out as well, just so that those could go through to the back. I think that makes it look pretty cool. But that's why you see me making this, I don't know, I just winged it and it worked out totally fine. To make this easier, what I could have done is I could have taken the cut file and removed all of the windows and removed that middle portion so that it was just those outside little pieces, and then I could have adhered it down onto the back of what I was working with, all the photos and that middle piece. That probably would have been even easier, but I suppose I was too lazy to go on my computer and do it, so this worked out just fine. So we'll adhere this down, and then I'm going to add the top portion on top of all of this that you see here. Once we get that done, I will pull out my inks and my roller date stamp in order to get the dates stamped into those little squares. Now, with my roller date stamp, I could only fit the month and the day, which is totally fine. It just means that I need to mask off the year portion. So I will show you here in a second how I go about doing that. For this particular cut file, there is one section that has these tiny little notches, and that helped me to line them up exactly where they go. So if you are working with this cut file, keep that in mind, that there are two little notches that will help you align it and make everything look very good. Okay, so we'll stick this down and then this piece will be mostly done. Now the inks that I'm going to use, or ink that I'm going to use for this particular project, is just my scrapbook.com premium dye ink. It is one of my favorite black inks. I think for the most part, I prefer to use dye inks just because they dry almost immediately. So I don't have to worry about smudging them on things. But you know, it is what it is. Whatever your favorite black is, go ahead and use that. In the back side, there is that circle element in the middle again. And for this one, I just used a black pleather embellishment that came in the mini kit. It was a star kit that Allie released this year with her December daily collection. And then here's where you can see how I'm going to mask it. So I grabbed a piece of washi tape and I'm just lining it up on the edge of each of those windows. Now, when I'm inking my stamp, I'm also doing my best not to ink up any portion of the year, but having that tape there does make me much more comfortable, you know, that I'm not going to mess it up. So I'm just going to add a few little phrase stickers here, a label on the photo here, along with a color cast design wood piece that says holiday movie time. And then that is pretty much going to do it for this spread. All right, friends, that completes day 20 in this album. Love the way that this came together. This little viewfinder is always one of my favorites. And this idea of stamping out the dates that we watched the movies was super cool. Sorry, you guys, you could hear Jonah yelling at me. Anyway, let me go ahead and read you my journaling really quick, and then we will wrap this video up. So my journaling is underneath this flap right here, and I used the prompt watching in order to write my journaling for today. So I said this: here in Michigan, as the days get shorter and the weather gets colder, we find ourselves hibernating inside much more often. That typically lends itself to many a movie night with the whole family. This season, we've enjoyed watching all of the holiday movies with the kids. We've mostly stuck to the claymation classics along with the newer animated Christmas movies. However, we were pleasantly surprised at how well they paid attention to the movie Elf. Aaron and I were so excited to be able to watch one of our favorites and to make it through the whole thing. Also, Mary, our elf, brought us a new movie to watch this year, Home Alone. Of all the movies we've watched this Christmas season, there was one that stood out above all the rest as a clear kids' favorite, The Grinch from 2018. Jonah begged us to watch it almost every day, and we can't even blame him. It's a great movie. I'm going to be a little sad when this season is over. Holiday movies are my favorite, and I've been enjoying our family movie nights so much. So simple journaling just about what we've been watching and that we love Christmas movies. And that's pretty much the story for today. I hope that you guys have enjoyed seeing this page come together. If you did, I would love a thumbs up down below. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you can see all of the future videos I have coming your way. I will be back again tomorrow with story number 21, which is going to go inside of this pocket. So really excited for that. Until then, I hope that you guys have a fantastic day, and I will catch you all in tomorrow's video. Bye now.